What's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Pony Lawson and what we like to do on this channel is critique tattoos sent in by you, the viewers. Today we're going through collector tattoos and we've got quite a lot of them, so let's not waste any time and get right into this. The first submission is sent in by Samuel Marktanner. Samuel sent in this American traditional eagle that he got from Korea, which to me is very surprising because this is such a good American traditional tattoo. It's great to see a tattoo like this come from a place like Korea where tattooing isn't even widely accepted. American traditional started in New York City in about the 1800s and it's just gained popularity ever since. Some people only specialize in traditional like this. American traditional is a very hard tattoo to execute well. A lot of people see these kinds of tattoos and think they're easy or simplistic, when in actuality they're one of the more difficult tattoos to do well. And as you can see, this one is done extremely well. The consistent shading throughout the wings and the body and the bold colors really make this thing pop. The line weight is great. I love the blue tips on the back of the head. I'd like to compare this tattoo to one of the American traditional greats, Myke Chambers. If I were to really break this thing down and compare this one to his, there are things that I'm looking at, like the shading in the wings. I like the shading in the wings on this tattoo, but if we were to compare it to Myke's just has a little bit more consistent shading in each of the individual wings and not just the whole wing itself. Most of the time, the feathers on an American traditional tattoo are brought all the way to the base of the wing. I can tell that the lines go all the way to the base on one wing, but the other wing, it doesn't seem to quite make it all the way home. It seems like part of that wing is missing under the snake to the left of the head, and I know it kind of looks like that head is cocked at a crazy angle, but in American traditional, that's quite normal. And for me, it still works. Overall, great composition. It's an A in my book. Thanks, Sam, for sending that in. Next up is this tattoo sent in by Vincent. Vincent sent in this all-black anime tattoo. I wish I could tell you what it's from, I'm just not that well versed in anime. If my buddy Lefty were here, he'd be able to tell you exactly who it was. He was here a few weeks ago with us on this channel.
No, he's tripping. I think the tattoo's dope. I hardly have anything bad to say about it.
If you haven't seen that video, I'll leave it up here, and I'll leave a link to his info in the description below. Lefty is an amazing tattooer. He specializes in anime and manga tattoos and things similar to this, so this really reminded me of his, so make sure you go check out his work. Back to the tattoo at hand. Vincent, this is a really great tattoo. I love the size, the composition, how bold this tattoo is. There's just a lot of textures and lines going on, a lot of creativeness going on here, especially at the bottom. I like how this is ended off. You mentioned that this is going to be a complete sleeve. I really can't wait to see how that comes together. Pretty much everything about this thing is sharp and on point. If I try to point out anything that I'm not a fan of, it would just be that some things are a little bit sketchy. However, I think it's a pretty sketchy tattoo, so it all works together. Great tattoo, Vincent. I appreciate you sending that in. So next up, Maksud had sent us in this Freddy Mercury tattoo. I'm just kidding, I know it's not Freddy Mercury. It's Michael Myers. I don't think this tattoo's bad, but I do think this tattoo needs a lot of work. It kind of looks like Freddy's just wearing a mask instead of just being burnt. And I say that because if we look down by the neck, it seems like that's where the mask kind of ends instead of where the sweater begins. I can tell that it's a sweater, but maybe a few extra textures or some shadows would really help that out. Another thing that kind of gives it the appearance of him wearing a mask are the wells in the eyes and above the teeth. It kind of looks like the mask is casting a shadow on the actual face. Some use of solid blacks would be great to see, especially when it comes to the hand up front. It kind of just seems like this black was very quickly washed in there. And the same thing when it comes to the right side of the hat. It's just not solid black. When this thing heals up, I can imagine that it's just going to be maybe 70% black and it's not going to give it the appearance of it sitting in front. The hat just generally lacks definition. I feel like if the artist were to use maybe a thicker liner or something like that to help give that brim an actual line, it would appear a lot more realistic. The one blade that's coming up through the middle of the face, I feel like that's the thing that should be on point. That's the thing that you should have this solid definition on because it's almost a focal point of the entire tattoo. The fingers that are folded down actually have more definition and detail than the blade that's coming up through his face, which should have the most definition and detail. It just kind of seems like tinfoil. This is like a Family Dollar Freddy glove. Tattoos nowadays take a lot of time. They take a lot more time than they did 10, 15 years ago. There's no reason that a tattoo this large should be able to be blasted out within a couple hours. I think you could benefit by having the artist take a little bit longer to work on some details here and there and not just try to rush through the entire thing. If it takes 2 sessions, so be it. Take 2 sessions. The white highlights in the nose and above the eye kind of just seem like they're randomly put in there. They don't really have any special purpose. There's also a lot of extra white highlights on the side of the face and things like that, which kind of make it seem like there's no general direction of light. It's just all over the place. I think the artist could benefit from watching some YouTube videos about highlights and shadows and how they work with each other. So overall, I think it's just lacking some general definition throughout the entire tattoo. It's not a bad tattoo, but it's not a great tattoo either. I do appreciate you sending that in, Maksud. Next up, we have a tattoo sent in by Efrem. Efrem sent in this picture of Steve Aoki dipping one of his fans' feet into some cake. I'm just kidding. This is a picture of Jesus washing one of his disciples' feet. I'm not sure if it's the art style or what, but kind of looks like a South Park Jesus. Overall, not a bad design. I wish there was a little bit more line weight used so we can kind of tell a distinction between the characters and things like that. It just kind of seems like it's one line weight throughout the entire tattoo. I'd like to see maybe something a little heavier thrown in there as well. The designs in the robes kind of look cool. I just can't really tell what's going on there with the glare that's running through this picture. It's not a whole lot to say about this one. It's fairly simple, but I do appreciate you sending that in, Efrem. Next up is this snake sent in by Geraldo. Geraldo, this tattoo needs a complete makeover. Right off, the shape in the belly of the snake looks like butts, like it's just butts going all the way up to the chin. 3 skinny butts. The design overall is just not so great. The tongue could use some work. The line above the head that you can tell is just blown out a bit. It's just not a good tattoo. Geraldo mentioned he did this on himself, so he's the artist and collector, and I don't feel super terrible about picking this one apart. Thank God you didn't put it on somebody else. Kind of just seems like maybe you need to slow down a bit, work on the lighter shades. It seems like there's a lot of dark values in here and not a lot of lighter shade values. Maybe work on that. This is one of those designs that would probably be best drawn on paper first before we put it on actual skin. Thank you, Geraldo, for sending it in. I would just say get some more practice in and send me some stuff in a few more months. The next one sent in is by Cosi, who sent in a Nigerian demon mask that's a representation of the ritual combat dance that identifies you as a man in his tribe. Whew. Initially, I thought we were going to critique a Harry and the Hendersons tattoo, but for real, I like this design. The design of this demon mask is pretty dope. I would have liked to seen some more maybe bold colors in there. I'm not talking so much about the purple, I'm talking about the teals. If you were to bring a little bit darker teals in with these lighter teals, I think this would just give it a little bit more pop, and also maybe some stronger line weights as well. Some nice bold heavy 14 round liner around the outside or something like that, and maybe throw some smaller lines in there as well, just to change it up a bit. I wish the hairs were a bit tighter at the bottom, maybe came together a little bit closer. Like I said, I do like the design. It's a bit overall simplistic, but it's cool. I like it. I went to look up some Nigerian demon masks, and the masks that I saw weren't exactly similar to this. Most of them looked kind of mean or angry, whereas this one kind of just looks chill. Maybe he smoked a peace pipe or something, but regardless, I do like the design overall. I just wish there were a little bit stronger lines throughout, maybe throughout the nose and things like that. I appreciate you sending that in, Cosi. So this is the end of the video where I give you my favorite tattoo as well as my least favorite tattoo, or as I like to call it. So this week's winner is Vincent. Vincent, I really like this tattoo overall. It's strong, it's bold, it's got all the right elements to make a good tattoo. So good job. Thank you so much again for sending that over. And now, for this week's winner of is Geraldo and this beautiful snake tattoo. And since you're an artist, Geraldo, I would just say to maybe work on your line weights a bit more, work on your fundamentals of tattooing, maybe design these on paper first before you start putting them on other people's skin. I don't know, there's so many nice things I could say about this tattoo, but we'll just leave it for the comments. All right, once again, I'd like to thank everybody for sending in all these submissions. If you haven't already, you can do so at ponycritiques@gmail.com. If you have not seen yours yet, don't worry, we're trying to get through these and maybe you'll see it on a future episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification bell so you can be notified when we go live. Thanks again, guys. It's been fun.